And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So there's a lot to discuss in today's video with regards to Celtic, as we have been handed a massive triple boost, which will definitely all come in handy for the rest of our season. We've obviously spoken out in recent videos of our struggles with injuries and stuff like that, and the lack of quality in the team right now that are fit and available, and of course the desperate need to invest in January. We will discuss that a bit later on in this video, but I want to start today's video by talking about an individual player, that being Celtic lonely defender Nat Phillips, as he is set to be recalled by his parent club, according to a prominent Liverpool fan media site. This is Anfield, so these are very reliable in the Liverpool space. If this is going to happen, it would put an end to a very disappointing few months for the Englishman, obviously struggling at Celtic. The report on This Is Anfield does say it's a recall. Nat still, of course, only runs till this January, so a few more weeks. So in this instance, it's more of the defender's deal will not be extended rather than him being recalled back to Liverpool, which we kind of not a massive surprise after seeing how well he's done at Celtic so far. Of course, he's failed to make a notable impact, and fans have even compared him to Shane Duffy, which kind of shows how poor he's actually been during his time at the club. Of course, Shane Duffy had a terrible time at the club as well a few years ago. Particularly at the weekend as well, this is highlighted against Kilmarnock. Phillips was hugely underwhelming in his performance. He was bullied by the likes of Kyle Vassell and Marley Watkins, and of course converted into his own net to level things up in the second half. It was of course only his fourth start for the club, but in all of his cameos so far, he has really failed to make an impression on Celtic fans and the management of the club as well. Of course, as well, when we signed it was more of a stopgap loan, due to us having some defensive issues at the time, with a lot of injuries in that position. We revealed, of course, that there would be talks in January regarding the future of the player, although for both parties, it seems as though the immediate end to Phillips' forgettable spell is the best outcome, and this is what looks like will happen. Of course, it will be interesting to see what Phillips does with his career going forward. I don't think he's up to the quality of being a Liverpool player. That's very apparent during his time at Celtic. Teams such as Celtic and Liverpool, despite being in different leagues, and you could say the Premier League is a lot higher quality, which fair enough it is, but there's always a high pressure and high responsibility playing for the likes of Celtic and Liverpool, two massive clubs with big, rich histories. So regardless of the league, there's always a lot of pressure, and you do feel that pressure when you play. I think this was the instance with Shane Duffy when he came to Celtic originally, because now at Norwich, he's doing quite well with himself at the age of 31 or whatever he is, 31, 32. He's doing relatively well at Norwich. So sometimes it can just be the case of the pressure of the badge being too much for an individual player. And hopefully for Nat Phillips' sake, this is the case for him because, of course, a very talented defender. He made a few appearances for Liverpool under Klopp in his time. And he is 26, so he's not getting any younger. He should be reaching the prime of his career. And I'm sure this is the last thing he would have expected or wanted to happen when he came to Celtic. But we, of course, will move forward as a club and kind of put him behind us a little bit, his obviously forgettable spell at the club. But I hope for him, from his individual perspective, that he does quite well going forward and maybe finds a club that's more suited to his level and ambitions, maybe a Championship club or something like that. I know he was linked to Leeds before he came to us, so maybe he can go there. See what happens with regards to him. I'll keep an eye out, of course. Wish him the best in his future. That is definitely not a Celtic football club. So let's talk about the free boosts that we've received, if you will, for the rest of the season, which of course is with regards to the three star players that are currently injured, of course, Maida, Hatate and Abada as well. So we are currently 5 points ahead of Rangers right now in the Scottish League table, but of course Rangers do have a game in hand where they can close the gap to 2 points. Of course, despite a season of dominance, if you will, the recent shaky performances since November have raised concerns, and the unexpected defeat to Kilmarnock last Sunday marked their first league loss under Brendan Rodgers since his return, of course, has kind of set the alarm bells ringing a little bit with regards to the quality that we need to bring into the club, and of course highlighting the fact there are a lot of injuries to key areas on the pitch. You could kind of see that with the lineups that were starting the match and finishing the match. Mikey Johnson on the right, of course, I always mention Greg Taylor, but we haven't got any other left backs in the team anyway that can replace him. But maybe a Nat Phillips at centre back. Cameron Carter-Vickers wasn't available for that game, and of course finishing the game with the likes of Adrian James Forrest and Yang on the wings isn't a positive sign for a club of Celtic's stature and quality. We should be having better players on the pitch at all times. That's due to poor recruitment and injuries to the three players that we mentioned before as well, of course, Hatate, Maida and Abada. All three are top players for Celtic. They are very, very good players for us, and we are definitely missing their presence in the team right now. Of course, all of them are better than the current players that we have in the positions that are playing there right now as well, as you mentioned about the wingers, midfielders, etc. So I'm going to kind of give you a little update with regards to where they are right now. So let's start with Abada. He's obviously known for his incisive runs on the pitch, goal scoring ability as well, and he's obviously been a massive miss for the team since he's been out injured. His return could reignite the attacking flair that Celtic is known for. Maida as well, with his relentless energy and speed, can stretch defences and create openings, and whilst Atate's technical skills and vision could be the key to unlocking tight defensive setups. Of course, as I mentioned, the combination of these three players returning to fitness and making their way back into the team, alongside a decent approach in the transfer market, bringing some quality players in through the door, could be a turning point for Celtic going forward to make sure we are not in a tight title race, and that is pretty clear that we are going to win the title, because right now it is pretty tight. I do think we still will win the league, but maybe not as convincingly as we would have hoped for. And of course, Rangers are poor as well. Rangers are poor right now as well, so it's not been the greatest of few weeks for Celtic. Brendan Rodgers spoke out recently in a press conference that Abada and Maida were on their way to being fit later in December, whilst Hatate will most likely rejoin the group in January if all goes well. So of course this is good news, especially with regards to Hatate. He will be available in the setup come January, which of course is getting closer and closer. We're nearly, halfway through December now already, which is crazy to say. So looking forward to his return on the pitch. Obviously I think Abada and Maida will be a little bit longer, but maybe start some individual training in December in the next few days or so and make their way back to full fitness, which is cool to see. We knew Abada's one especially will be out for a long time. But it's very key that these players get back to full fitness, and there's a massive boost for us going into the rest of the season that they are on the right kind of path, and they are slowly making their return to Celtic, first team obviously, and maybe be available for a few games come January, February. But it's all, of course, a waiting game with regards to these three players. Now hoping their return to full fitness and a decent transfer window will obviously mark a turning point for us going forward for the rest of the season. But let us know what you make of Nat Phillips, obviously not being extended his loan deal. No surprises there really. And what would you make of the latest update with regards to the three injured players? Let us know down in the comment section below. That brings us to the end of today's video, guys. Make sure you drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.